What is up, everyone? It's Matt here, your virtual events director here at Aravaipa, and we are here for the Week 3 live stream for Cocodona Virtual. So we're kicking off our third week this week. We got a lot to talk about, but before we dive into kind of this section of the course and that description, let's go ahead and take a look at our leaderboard real quick. Again, thank you all for joining us and tuning in. And as we venture towards the halfway point on our journey, I hope that you all are still having a good time. So let's go ahead and take a look at our leaderboard here. So we have a number of people who have finished already, which is amazing. And so currently I have the results page filtered by the people who hit the finish of the race first. So we've got Katra Corbett and Rich Myers, who Rich was, I believe, actually the first one to finish, and then Katra had not uploaded her results yet. So those are your female and male kind of winners of the Cocodona Virtual Experience. Then we've got Jeffrey Davis, Christopher Lenticum, who have both finished, and then this just happened literally as we were getting everything ready to start the stream. Miss Brenda Daly, she logged her runs or her miles for this week, or for today, I mean, and she has also crossed the finish line of the virtual experience. So shout out to Miss Brenda there and to all the other runners who have finished the race. And now I want to go and I want to try and see if I can filter this by miles. I'm not sure if I can or not, so bear with me here, or progress. Doesn't look like I can, so because of the way I have it set up, we're just going to scroll through and kind of see who our next participants are. So we got Wayne Edgar Ramage, who is at 147 miles. We have Erica Chalmers, who is at 136 miles. Yui Hollerbach, who's at 210 miles, so he's closing in on the finish there. Steve Snyder, who's at 143 miles. And again, I apologize for my inability to currently filter. Andre, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. I apologize, Andre, is at 163 miles. So we got a lot of people, closing in on the finish of their race coming up here. So Mary Reed, up there at 154 miles. She's got to be close to the top 3 for the women right now as well. Yeah, and so that gives you just kind of a snapshot. Again, I apologize for not being able to filter the leaderboard in a different way. But let's go back up here again and take a look at our top 5 who have all finished the race here. So, and again, I'm not sure. This is the thing on Ultra Signup. I'm not exactly sure what clock time is being utilized here. So, for instance, Rich Myers, I know that this isn't the sum of just his runs. This is the time from his first run to his last run. But I'm not sure if that is the case for Jeffrey Davis or anything like that. So you can see that the clock times are obviously quite a bit different. I wouldn't worry so much about that as much as I would the way that this is currently filtered for people who have finished. So, pardon me, just keep that in mind that this is currently filtered as the people who hit the milestone of the finish line, the 255-mile mark, at the earliest date. So that's the way this is filtered. So, yeah. So a lot of people doing some really amazing stuff. We've got a lot of runners who are, moving kind of at their own pace, and I think that's part of what really makes this experience super unique. So, shout out to everyone who is participating and is moving forward. And I have had a few questions over the last week on results submissions and things like that. So I know that sometimes Run Signup can be a little bit finicky with like uploading files as your results, so it may only accept certain file types. It also might kind of trim your activity or alter the activity data there. So the easiest way to submit your results is to go to the results page, which I just showed you, and I'll pull that back up. And you can see right up here at the top, there is a button that says Submit Virtual Results. If you click on that, you can type in your name and submit your results. So that is going to be the easiest, and you can enter in your time, your distance, and your elevation gain. That is the easiest way to enter your results, and I encourage you to do so on a routine basis so that you can continue to see those unlockable badges that are kind of commemorating iconic parts of the race course as you move along on the journey. So now that we have taken a look at the leaderboard, let's go ahead and take a look at our Instagram and get an update there, and then we will dive into our Week 2 challenge winners and our upcoming Week 3 challenge details before we preview the course. So here we go on our hashtag Cocodona Virtual Experience. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. So let's take a look at the Strava map here. Tom, the triplet dad. What do we have here? Sorry that the screen is cutting it off, but a 22.1 mile run. And we just lost signal on the iPad here, so I apologize for that. We have been having some minor technical difficulties, so that has been a part of the delay here. So I'm going to pull it back to myself. So I apologize for that. I'm going to continue to just read off some of these, and we will try and reshare these on some of these on our Aravaipa Virtual Instagram. However, you can also see a lot of these at the hashtag Cocodona Virtual Experience on Instagram as well. So I am going to just kind of take a look at these, and I will kind of read them off. So one of the cool things I saw, Jeffrey Davis, who we just mentioned, had finished his run. He's got a post in here of an amazing breakfast celebration with his race shirt on. So huge shout out to Jeffrey. I am going to try and pull this up again here. Give me 1 second. We are trying to iron out some technical issues on the back end, but again, Jeffrey just finished and he celebrated with a massive breakfast. I'm trying to look here. He's got some pancakes and sausage. He's got some hash browns. I'm trying to see what the other thing is here. Let's see if I can pull it up now. There we go. I'm not sure what that thing in the middle is, but what I do know is it looks really, really delicious. So huge shout out to Jeffrey and congratulations on finishing the 255-mile experience. And I hope that you devoured every single piece that was on your plate because it looks incredible. We got a hiking pack here, Walkabout Woman. Look at the race bib. The race bib, for those of you who printed it off, those turned out pretty beautiful. So shout out to Walkabout Woman. Really looks nice actually with the Ultimate Direction pack there as well. If you haven't printed your own bib, you can go to the Aravaipa or the Cocodona Virtual Experience page on our aravaiparunning.com website. And if you scroll down a little bit, there's a link where you can customize and print your own race bib. You can use your favorite number. There are no assigned bib numbers, and you can put in whatever name you want, and you should be able to print those. If you do have any issues printing those, just shoot me an email, and I can kind of help you get through that. Let's scroll here. Here we go, a dog photo. Got to show the dog again, Jeffrey Davis. Just absolutely crushing it, and we'll talk more about Mr. Davis a little bit later. And here we go. We got Jem Rooney over in Richmond, Australia, just outside, North Richmond, Australia, just outside Sydney. with the Pegasus Trail. Interested to see to hear Jem's thoughts on the Peg Trail, how it handles those beautiful trails over in Oz. Let's see. We're going to keep scrolling here. Christy from Missoula, Montana, with some beautiful views there. It's awesome how you can kind of see the clouds just over the peaks of the mountains there. It makes them look like they're really low, but obviously Christy is just pretty high up there. And look at her run. She ran, I'm not sure 4.7 miles, got in 1,600 feet of gain. And then she did, looks like a road run there as well. So shout out to everyone for continuing to let me follow along with your journey. So I love following the hashtags and the Instagram posts. So as you're, continuing this adventure, make sure that you're, if you want, share your journey on Instagram, tag at Aravaipa Virtual, and use the hashtag Cocodona Virtual or hashtag Cocodona Virtual Experience. And we will kind of pull those up on a weekly basis. So the next thing we're going to get into here before we kind of dive into this week's kind of course preview, which will be a bit abbreviated compared to last week, is our I'm trying to pull up the Instagram here. Awesome. So we're going to go through our week 2 challenge winners. So the weekly challenge last week was basically to see who could run the most nighttime miles. And the big reason behind that was this section of the course from Battle Flat at mile 52 to Fain Ranch at mile 104 was the first kind of overnight section for most runners. They would hit that section kind of during the night. So we had a lot of people getting out there, getting in some good miles overnight. And we have someone who ran the most miles, and you just had to email me those, who what I think is actually quite incredible. But Jeff Davis, who we saw there, we saw a photo of his dog. We saw him celebrating his Cocodona Virtual Experience completion with a big breakfast. He ran 72.67 miles between the hours of 7:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. Over this last week. So that's truly incredible. So Jeff is our week 2 winner. Jeff, I'll reach out to you directly, and we will hook you up with some of our kind of Carpe Noctem / Insomniac swag that we do here for some of our nighttime races. We'll get you some of that nighttime runner swag out to you. So I'll reach out to you. And then each week we're doing kind of a raffle that is open basically to anyone. And all you have to do for this past week's raffle was to go to our week 2 live stream, which was in our Instagram on our Aravaipa Virtual Instagram channel. And you just had to comment below with your weekly miles for this week. And anyone who ran over 50 miles for the week was entered into a raffle for an Aravaipa Virtual swag pack. So I am going to just randomly select someone from the comments here. And our winner is Running to Paradise, at Running to Paradise. So we will reach out to you directly on Instagram because I will need your contact information. But she ran 85 miles this week, or this past week. So shout out to you. You are our winner for an Aravaipa Virtual swag pack. I'm going to just write that down real quick. And so we will reach out to you and get your contact information so that we can get you your swag shipped out. And so that brings us to our course preview. And this section of the course is the longest section that we'll be doing in the virtual experience. So we're going from mile 104 at Fain Ranch, which is where last week ended, all the way to mile 161 at Sedona. So that is a 57-mile stretch. Unfortunately, this week, as of right now, I don't have the flyover queued up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of talk through this section of the course, and then I will try to email out that flyover later if I can get that done. So that is the current plan. So as runners, and this was a lot of this was included in the runner email, but as runners left the Fain Ranch aid station, they still had kind of a bit of a kind of flatter, maybe light climbing section down in the Verde Valley there, or no, in the Prescott Valley rather. Before they start their climb up to Mingus Mountain. So going into this race, the Mingus Mountain climb was touted as like something that was going to be super hard, and I think for some runners that was still the case, and I think a climb that traverses a couple thousand feet in just a handful of miles, it's not super steep, but it is fairly long, is always going to be a challenge when you're 100-plus miles into a course. But most runners that we heard from at the top of Mingus Mountain were actually quite happy with like how that climb went, and I think that is compared to the kind of early sections of the course where that first 50K was just brutal for a lot of runners. So that being said, some runners still had some tough patches through that section. If you listen to the Mountain Outpost pod with Skylar and Jamil, you'll notice, or you'll have heard that was actually one of Jamil's lowest points in the race, was that kind of climb up Mingus Mountain. So, for a lot of runners, you come through that like really hot section down in the valley and have to make this long climb up to over 7,600 feet. It was tough. Thankfully, when you got up to the Mingus Mountain camp, which is a little bit below. Yeah, you can see it here now, which is a little bit below the true summit. You had an amazing aid station full of amazing volunteers. You had a good place to shower and sleep. You could see your crew. This is where Jubilee Page, our wonderful race director here at Aravaipa, she was handling that aid station for a good portion of time, and they had apparently some really good hot dogs. So, there were Ryan Ingham, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, actually said on, I believe, his Instagram that he hadn't had a hot dog in years, and that was one of the best hot dogs he had ever had. He just couldn't get enough of them. So shout out to everyone at that aid station, which was right around mile 113, mile 114. And so from there, you can see, you take a little forest road, and you have like a little bit of a climb kind of coming around that ridge line, but then it is just like bombing downhill for quite a while. I believe this stretch from Mingus Mountain down to Jerome, which is mostly downhill, you have a little bit of climbing, is about 12 or 13 miles. So yeah, that's mile 126 down at Jerome. So yeah, about a 12 or 13 mile stretch. And during that descent, you just have some of the most incredible views on the course. And we were able to get some drone shots there around Mingus Mountain. And it was just truly incredible to see the scenery. And so you can see, as you come in, you're going to run through the streets of Jerome. And such an iconic and historical town, very artsy now, and just chocked full of like uniqueness and fun, really. So if you're ever kind of looking for places to explore in central Arizona, definitely check out Jerome. But runners made their way over to the Jerome aid station at the Historical Mine Park Museum. Again, another crew access point, could pick up pacers. And once they left there, they continued this descent. So I believe the descent from Mingus Mountain down to the Jerome aid station was around 3,000 or 4,000 feet of descending, maybe. I don't know off the top of my head, but I included the exact number in this week's email. And then from there, they continue to descend, about another 1,000 feet or so down this kind of spine towards the Verde River. So, yeah, again, just continuing this descent until they get down to the Verde Valley. and they get this Verde River crossing right here on the left of the screen there. Can you go back just a bit? Right there. And so this is like early on in the race, there were some river crossings like at the Agua Fria where it was bone dry. It wasn't actually a crossing. This was a guaranteed get your feet wet. For those crossing during the day, this was a great place to cool off. I believe Michael Versteeg, the eventual race winner, did kind of cool off in this river a little bit. And this is around the mile 132, 133 mile mark. So this was about, a 6 or 7 mile section from the Jerome aid station. And then from here, runners kind of continue on what is a fairly flat stretch as they make their way to the Dead Horse State Park campground over here. And so this was actually a really cool aid station. So this was where we capped off night 2 of our live stream when Jamil came in to this aid station. This was also where eventual race winner Michael Versteeg came in the afternoon and took like a 2-hour nap to kind of get out of the heat. But what was really cool about this aid station was they had a friggin' taco bar set up. And runners were usually coming in on Tuesday, so you had Taco Tuesday, or on that Wednesday, which was Cinco de Mayo. And so they had a taco bar set up, so shout out to all the volunteers there who kept like just such a cool atmosphere and vibe the entire time. It was really awesome to kind of follow along. And so, again, this was where we finished our day 2 live stream when Jamil kind of came in, ordered some tacos, and we kind of let him get some rest and called it a night. And so as runners left this aid station, they made their way up into kind of the red dirt trails here, which aren't like fully red clay quite yet, as we're still a little bit from Sedona. But they made their way down the Lime Kiln Trail, which is one of just the most beautiful trails in this section of the course. And so for a lot of the lead runners, they were making it through this section in like the latter part of the day or like even into the night. But for someone like the mid and backpack runners, they were hitting this section of trail during the day or morning hours. And so this section of trail was tough for some people. But as we approach the Deer Pass aid station at mile 145, I believe, this is kind of an iconic point because it's the first point where you get like real tangible views of the Sedona Red Rocks. So it's an area where you can really see the Red Rocks there off in the distance. Like you could see them before from places like Mingus Mountain, but they're like way, way out there. From here, it's a lot more tangible and real, the experience. And so this was another crewable aid station. It wasn't super big. We didn't have a lot of coverage from this aid station, so we weren't able to get a whole lot from there. But again, this stretch from Dead Horse Ranch State Park to Deer Pass, for some runners towards the middle or back, was already getting hot. But for a lot of runners, it was more late evening or overnight that they kind of hit this stretch. And so as runners leave the Deer Pass aid station, they've got, again, kind of a rolling section of trail as they make their way towards kind of the main Sedona aid station at St. John Vianney Church. And so you can see runners are just kind of rolling into this this red clay section. You do have a little bit of a climb up this spine here, but the views of Sedona just become more and more immersive the closer you get. And so for a lot of runners, though, this section was super hot. As you can see, they dip down towards the Sedona Red Rock High School, and then they come back up into the foothills as they kind of run around the outskirts of town before climbing up and making their way around the airport. I believe it's the airport trail. I forget the exact name of the trail. I apologize. Might be like the airport loop trail, but this section of trail is absolutely incredible because you get basically panoramic views of these just incredible red rock vortices, as the proper pronunciation is. And it's truly spectacular. The issue with this section for a lot of runners was it was extremely hot. So for instance, Pam Reed, who is an ultra running legend, she was the first woman to ever win the Badwater 135 outright. She's done over 100 plus mile races. She said that this section of trail was hotter than Badwater, which is amazing. It's amazingly terrifying, to be perfectly honest, how hot that actually felt, because obviously the actual temperatures weren't that comparable. But the feeling out there when you're just under the desert sun and there's no reprieve can be pretty brutal. And so you can see runners continuing to make their way around Tabletop Mountain in the airport here as they make their way down to the St. John Vianney Church right there at mile 161. We had a lot of really good footage from this aid station thanks to all our amazing volunteers. At this aid station, we got some incredibly memorable moments. We got a good 10 minutes of Maggie Gutierrez, the eventual women's winner, just talking things through with her crew, which was amazing, telling her crew what she needed and things like that. It was amazing to listen into that. We also got to talk to Stefan Fiandero, also known as Stefan Claus, and also known as Santa Hat Kid at the very beginning, to ask him what was in his drop bag. And this was actually the moment that my big mouth decided to promise Stefan milk and cookies at the aid station, or at the finish line. And while I didn't get there before he finished, we did deliver the following day. We got him some milk and cookies, and we even talked him into creating an Instagram account, which was pretty cool. So if you're not following Santa Runs Ultras on Instagram, definitely go check him out, because his energy the entire time throughout the race was amazing. So this was actually also, I said we ended the night with Jamil at Dead Horse Ranch State Park. We also saw Michael Versteeg come into this aid station at Sedona and leave this aid station right before we ended the show for that night. So a lot of really cool things happened at this aid station. This aid station for runners was also a chance for air-conditioned naps. So they had an air-conditioned sleep room, which was really cool. And I think this stretch, especially from Deer Pass to Sedona, while it was hot, probably provided some of the most emotion-evoking views. There's something about the red rocks and the vortex formations of Sedona that is it's truly magical, and it's something that words really can't do justice. So that is where this section of the course ends. So I'm going to bring it back to me. So that was from Fane Ranch at mile 104 to Sedona at mile 161. So again, a big 57-mile stretch. The thing is, after the Mingus climb, it was mostly downhill, which sounds really enjoyable. But after 100 plus miles, it probably all hurts at that point. But the biggest issue was it got really hot down in the Verde Valley once you got past Jerome. So it did get super hot down there. So, but again, it was a truly awesome part of the course to be able to follow. And like I said, we had a lot of really good footage from the Sedona aid station. The other actual really cool moment that came from the Sedona aid station was Kerry Ward had picked up, I think, a random pacer, but his pacer just randomly broke out a homemade bass guitar and started playing at the aid station, and was amazing. So if you want to, I think that was on our day 3 footage, or our day 3 live stream, so I definitely recommend you check out kind of the end of day 2 and the early parts of the day 3 live stream for a lot of like really good footage from this section of the course. And so before we kind of call it a day, we do have our week 3 challenge and our week 3 raffle. So again, for week 3, we are going to link we'll have this video on our Aravaipa Virtual Instagram channel or Instagram account. So, excuse me. So what you need to do is go in once that post is live, and again, comment with your weekly total miles, like your miles for the week. And anyone who runs 57 miles or more, so 57 miles or more, which is this section, of course, will be entered in to a raffle for a swag pack. And then our week 3 challenge is the most scenic Instagram post. So in order to participate in the week 3 challenge, you just need to go out and run and take a scenic photo, and that could be a sunset view from a summit. That could be a beautiful tree. It could be amazing cornfields. It can be anything. Make a post on Instagram and tag at Aravaipa Virtual. Use the hashtag Cocodona Virtual Experience, and we will choose what we deem to be the most scenic Instagram post. And again, that ties directly into this section of the race course, because that stretch from Deer Pass at mile 145 into Sedona is some of the most like scenic sections of the course, as well as the descent down Mingus Mountain, where you get some incredible views of the valley and the red rocks off in the distance. So that's going to be our week 3 challenge. If you have any questions about anything, again, just shoot me an email, matt@aravaiparunning.com, and that is going to do it for this week's live stream. I will see you all again next week, Monday at 10 a.m. ish, and hopefully you guys and gals continue to enjoy this journey. That's going to do it for today.